drop into predictability. Milkman, the paperboy, evening TV. You miss your old familiar friends, waiting just around the bend. Everywhere you look, there's a heart, a hand to hold on to. Everywhere you look, there's a face, somebody who needs you. When you're lost out there and you're all alone, a light is waiting to carry you home. Everywhere you look.
Episode 32 of Everywhere You Look, the unofficial, unofficial Full House podcast. My name is Thomas Green. You can find me on Twitter at NotThatTomGreen.
And I'm Alex Green, and you can find me on Twitter at TheAlexBGreen.
This week, Stephanie gets super jealous of everybody and decides to get married. We look at Season 2, Episode 10, entitled Middle Age Crazy.
Well, to be fair, isn't that how most people handle their issues?
I was going to bring that up later, but this is probably the genesis of the Teen Mom movement. But I'll bring that up here in a moment. First off, some housekeeping up front. If you dug the song that you heard before Alex started talking, check out Beat Radio, one of my favorite bands. I'm currently wearing one of their shirts that I bought off of their website.
True story.
beatradio.bandcamp.com. That song, as well as all of their work, is up there for you to listen to right now. Also, please subscribe to us on iTunes. Go to tinyurl.com/fullhousepodcast. Go there, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, write a short review, and I will cuss you out on a future episode of the podcast. As well, social media. We like social media. We like posting. We like tweeting. We like liking. Go to Facebook, facebook.com/Everywhere You Look Podcast. On Twitter, we are on there at Full House Pod. And we're on Tumblr, everywhereyoulookpodcast.tumblr.com. Now, let's jump into the Wayback Machine. Pop, pop, jump. To see where we were at in the world, January 6th, 1989, the day in which this episode aired.
See, we're almost catching up.
Yes, unfortunately nothing interesting happened on this day, but a couple of days before, George Bush Sr. was elected into office. He was sworn in, and the Bush administration Part Un began. So that's a thing. I think he's the last old man we elected into office other than his son. Like, I brought that up a few weeks ago. I thought for a while we had an old man movement going on with the presidency. Lots of old white men. Now they're not so old.
Well, the younger Bush wasn't that old.
But he looked old. He was gray and he had wrinkles and he was like...
Not when he first went into office.
Well, then... But he got wrinkly and old. Whereas, like, Clinton had gray hair, but he wasn't old. Obama's not old. Hillary's an old man. That was mean.
That was mean.
I'm sorry, Hillary Clinton. I am not one of those who thinks that just because you have a period doesn't mean that you can't be president. So I at least have that going for me. So good on me.
I wanted to be the president at one point in time.
Yeah, when?
Like, 3rd grade, they had us all take pictures, like, pretending that we had been elected president, and it got me really excited.
Like, what's this? What?
We were learning about government. There was an election that year. It was the Clinton-Dole election. We had, like, mock elections and everything. We voted.
So, and then part of the process is that you get your picture taken?
Yes, we all got to go stand behind a podium with the presidential seal on it and pretend that we were the president.
So you learned a lot, I'm assuming. Like, this was probably like a graded thing. Like, if you didn't stand behind the... Like, if you stood in front of the podium, you got a C. If you sat down, you got an F. But if you stood behind the podium, you got an A.
I don't think we were graded on it. I think it was just for funsies.
For funsies. I wish my school did things for funsies. We had a game day, that's it. One game day a year.
Like board games?
Like, we had to go outside and, like, compete between the different...
so field day.
Yeah. Like, that's it.
We had field day.
Yeah, like, we had water balloon games, and it was all stupid and stuff.
Well, it was 5th and 6th grade, it was field day. In 3rd and 4th grade, it was called the 3rd and 4th grade Olympics.
The 3rd and 4th grade Olympics? Did you all do
Yes.
steroids?
No, but we did tug of war.
Who won? The 3rd or the 4th grade?
No, we were all separated by our classes.
See, I would have loved it if you competed between the 3rd and the 4th grade, and like the 3rd graders won, and then the 4th graders went home and like cried.
I competed in the jump rope competition and the tug of war that year.
Yeah, I would think those would be two completely opposite skills. Like,
I was not very good at the jump rope competition.
were you good at the tug of war?
My team won.
Well, good job then.
Thank you.
Well, in the future, take credit for stuff like that. Be like, I was the captain, or I was the anchor, or the caboose. I don't know the
I don't know. I was just
terms.
in the middle somewhere, up towards the front. I don't remember.
Well, could people who are into tug of war, could you like let us know what the technical term? Like, what, is it the caboose? Is it the anchor? Like, who the main person in the tug of war team? Who is that? Because there's got to be a term.
It was not Alex. I can tell you that.
Like, there's got to be like a tug of war podcast out there with like experts talking about tug of war and the National League and who's doing who and who's doing what. So if you're a tug of war expert, please contact us because we need to know these things. Speaking of needing to know, what's helped these people on their need to know basis of this episode, Middle Age Crazy?
Well, with the cold open, Michelle and the boys are blowing bubbles in her bedroom. And this, like, there's so many things in this episode that, like, relate to my life. It's not even funny. But it started from this point, because when I was a kid, 4 or 5-ish, my mom lived with her grandma. And my dad had custody of me at that point. And so I saw my mom every other weekend. And when we were over there, like, my mom wasn't allowed to have her radio on if grandma was home. I was not allowed to blow bubbles in the house, which I thought was really annoying. And so when she would leave, I would turn up Simon and Garfunkel really, really loud and blow bubbles in the house.
What a rebel. Hey, everybody, Grandma's gone. I'm like a rock.
Hey, I love Simon and Garfunkel. I have loved Simon and Garfunkel since I was 5 years old.
I know. I'm
Like-
making fun of you because that's how the show dynamic goes.
They're so good, though. Don't hate on that.
Itty bitty Paul Simon.
They are my second favorite band of all time.
Hey, everyone, I'm Paul Simon. Look at me. I'm
Hey,
so
Paul
small.
Simon is a musical genius. Shut your mouth.
He's also 3 feet tall. Hello.
Shut your whore mouth.
My favorite Simon and Garfunkel song is I'm part of the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop. Ow, that was a smack. I was smacked. I was assaulted. I was assaulted like a peanut. I'm a peanut now. I'm a peanut. I'm the first ever peanut to record his voice for a podcast.
Stop smack talking Paul Simon.
I'm not. I'm a peanut now.
Good.
I can't. I have little. Like,
I will turn
skinny
you
arms.
into peanut butter.
I have little skinny arms because I'm a peanut now.
You can go sit on a railroad track with your heart all aflutter.
With my what all flutter?
Your heart.
Oh, I
Do you
thought-
not know that?
No, I thought you said something else that sounded like that.
Do you know that song?
I do, but
Yeah.
you said it so fast
Oh,
that I thought you.
Granny used to sing that.
Well, I'm glad your granny didn't sing the other thing I thought I heard.
What'd you think you heard?
Hold on. I thought you said, yeah.
Whatever.
No, they're blowing bubbles, and yeah, everyone's like, wow, this is so much fun. And then Michelle's like, oh, adults are stupid. I'm gonna leave. And DJ walks in, LOL, grown up blowing bubbles. You know what I have to say to you, DJ Tanner? Shut up. Shut your little mouth. It is fun to blow bubbles at any age.
I was blowing bubbles in our bedroom 2 days ago.
Don't bubble slut shame your dad and his buddies who live
She
at the
just
house.
wanted to make sure that they had done their homework first.
She was bubble slut shaming them. It was bad. Very, very bad. Bubble slut shaming. Don't do it.
Okay, Michelle, Daddy is going to make a home video of you to show all the nice viewers of Wake Up San Francisco. All right, when I say action, you walk over to the table and you show everybody how you eat like a big girl. All right, Michelle?
Alrighty.
Okay, now go to the table and action. No mercy. No mercy, honey. Sit at the table. The table. The table.
Pussy.
Okay, fine. We'll make it a Western. All right. Okay, can you say yippee-i-o-ki-yay?
No. Daddy, guess what? I did 103 hula hoops was awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Stephanie, honey, I'm very happy for you, but right now I'm busy making a movie about your adorable little sister.
Daddy, I can be adorable too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Stephanie, I'm very sorry, but this tape is just about Michelle. I'll watch you later.
The first scene, Danny is following Michelle around with his giant camcorder of doom.
He's recording her for Wake Up San Francisco, and he wants to record her eating.
This is so weird.
It is weird.
Like, on so many levels. Like, first off, like, did he get this clear? Did they ask him for footage of his daughter eating? Like, okay, they're all sitting around for, like, the production meeting. Hey, Tanner, this week, we have about 5 minutes to film on the Wednesday episode. Can you just, like, record your baby eating for, like, a few minutes? Well, we'll do an intro and an outro and a bing and a bang, and we'll have it good. Or did he just assume that he could bring this footage to the studio, and they're like, yes, let's air 3.5 minutes of your baby eating food?
I don't know, but like as a television viewer, I would not want to sit there and watch someone's kid eating like home footage on a news show. Like,
well, it's not a news show.
Well, it's a talk show, whatever. Like, still, like, I don't want to watch that. I want to watch you talking to celebrities or telling me about a new recipe. I don't give a crap if your kid can feed herself.
Well, that's the thing, though. He seems to assume that's all we want to watch. Because the past couple of weeks, the plot of the episode each week is Danny tries to film Michelle for Wake Up San Francisco. Or Danny tries to film something at the house for his show. Like, does he not just... Is this just a way to, like, not go to work? Do, like, stay-at-home dad and be a TV host?
Does he think he can write off his grocery bill if he films her eating?
Possibly. Like, this is all either super lazy or super creepy.
Or both.
Yeah, like, this is like a Kardashian thing. Like, he's gonna, like, shave down his Adam's apple, and Us Weekly's gonna be like, is he a woman? Is he a man? Find out this week in Us Weekly. And then we go back to TMZ, and Mario Lopez is like, hey, everybody, Ryan Seacrest is here hanging out in the swimming pool. Let's go to Ryan. Ryan? That's a thing they do, I think, on one of those shows. Like, hanging with Ryan Seacrest in the swimming pool. I assume that's, like, on Extra. I haven't watched...
Well, Ryan Seacrest used to host E! News with Juliana Rancic, but now he doesn't anymore.
I don't know.
He finally decided he had too many other jobs, I guess.
But, yeah, my determination is Danny Tanner would be, like, super duper into YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, he'd be one of those, like, weird parents that, like, everything you did, he'd record it on his phone, and then he would put it up on YouTube but not know how to title it. So it would just be, like, the extension that it saved it as naturally on the phone, like, PLHOO4.mp4. That's the title of it, and he would expect, like, everyone to see it, and then his family to be famous.
Well, like, Michelle is not interested in eating. Michelle wants to ride her bouncy horse, which for some reason is in the kitchen. Which I still don't understand that. It's been there for a few episodes now.
These people don't watch the kids. Why do you think they're gonna pay attention to taking things out of the kitchen or cleaning up?
I don't know. It's weird to me, though. But he's like, okay, you can ride the horse, but say yippee-ki-yay. And she's like, I'm not doing that.
That's also very weird. So Stephanie walks in with Harry Mother Effin' Takayama. Harry Takayama's back. Stephanie wants everyone to know that she did 103 hula hoops at school today, a world record.
No, a first grade record.
Well, a first grade world record in that school. Nobody in that school in the first grade has ever done that. Therefore, it is a first grade world record.
I'm impressed. I can't do that.
Well, we're also much bigger than Stephanie Tanner. We're much taller. We are grown adults.
I hula hooped once on accident in a Walmart when I was a kid. Like, my grandma and I were looking at hula hoops, and I decided to try it, and I did it once. And I was in shock, and then I've never been able to do it again.
Well, we can all agree this is 103 hulas, no matter what we want to make fun of. It's very impressive.
It is.
And Danny didn't care. He literally goes, go away, Stephanie. I want to record your sister on the horsey, which...
Yeah, he says, I'm too busy filming Michelle being cute.
Yeah, like, that's straight up, like, weird stage dad stuff.
And then she's like, I can be cute, too. And she starts doing it, like, with a huge smile on her face. And he's like, this is just, like, I'm just filming Michelle, like... I'll watch you later, whatever.
Yeah, these kids are all gonna end up with, like, weird drug sex lives. As I burp again.
Stephanie was totally upset, which is understandable. I mean, Danny's being really crappy to her right now.
Yeah. Like, is there any wonder that, like, Jodie Sweetin ended up on meth? Like, she's gonna have, like, PTSD flashbacks to this episode and think that it's actually real life. And then be like, should I go back to life or should I do meth? I'm gonna do meth. And then she does meth, and she eats meth, because that's what meth people probably do when they're really into meth. Is they don't just, like, absorb it, they eat it too. Meth. 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 Meth.
What?
Meth. 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 Meth.
Okay, so Jesse and Joey are in Joey's room, and Jesse is on the phone with the Jingle Boss. And
The Jingle Boss.
and Joey's just picking out all the ideas they've already trashed out of the trash can and throwing them at him while he's on the phone.
Like, is the Jingle Boss, is that like a show on the Food Network? Like, they only do, like, Christmas food in, like, New York?
That would be so fun.
And it's like a guy with, like, a white beard and long white hair.
Oh,
Like,
I would love that.
Listen, the icing on this cake, it's no good. The kids are gonna be mad. Smack you upside the head. You're fired. That's the Jingle Boss. You can talk at any moment, you know. You're allowed to talk.
I know. I can't believe the things that are coming out of your mouth. They're rendering me speechless.
It's the Jingle Boss. I've come up with like 3 new shows in the past 15 minutes. Like, I should be at 18 millionaire. So, also, Jesse, during this whole thing, has a pencil behind his ear, because that was, like, the 80s.
Smart.
It was the 80s, 90s thing when you were, like, doing smart things, is to have a pencil behind your ear, which I never got. Like, who put pencils behind their ear?
I have before, but I usually put them in my hair.
Yeah, see, Jesse, he had enough hair to do it, to put it in his hair, but he wasn't trying to look stylish. It was like, oh, we're doing all this stuff. We're being cool dudes who are doing smart things. Someone put this pencil behind my ear and render it useless. Because you never have the instinct. If you're like, oh man, I need to write something down, I'm not going to reach behind my ear. I'm not a fucking magician.
I wish you were.
No, well, why?
Because that'd be fun.
And we'd be even broker than we are now. Like,
That's not the proper grammar.
well, it is. If I were a magician, I would just pull a rabbit out of my butt right now.
Ew.
Like, they're all weird sex perverts who pull rabbits out of their butts.
Don't pull anything out of your butt.
I don't want to. That's why I'm not going to be a magician. Can I not be a magician, please?
I guess.
I don't want to be a magician anymore.
Well, as usual, Joey is wearing a hideous sweater because I guess that's just Joey's thing, I guess. Like, if there's an ugly sweater to be worn, Joey Gladstone's gonna be wearing it.
Yeah. And speaking of ugly sweaters, they decide, hey, we're going to dig this idea out of the trash and try it. And it's a rap song. And, like, you know that it's good because they pull out the serious applause clap for it. Like, oh, yay, it's a good idea, yeah. And then they're like, nah. And everyone, like, LOLs. And that's, like, a weird thing that they included, like, the laugh track into the joke. Is that they really didn't do a good rap. Like, it was synchronized, and that's about it. But the joke was the audience liked it. They included the audience into it as a character. It was so weird. So, it was so lazy.
Yeah.
And this show makes no sense.
Stephanie comes in and she's all like, hey, I broke the first grade hula record. I did 103. Do you want to see? And they're all like, hey, you know, we'd love to, but we don't have time right now. We have to get our work done. We'll watch later. And
They had actual work to do.
yeah.
Danny is being a creep with his daughter, trying to get away with not having to plan segments on his TV show and exploiting his daughter on San Francisco citywide TV. And whereas we're supposed to think that Joey and Jesse are bad guys for blowing her off, they have work to do.
Yeah.
Fucking creeps.
But then DJ comes in because she needs help with her homework, and Stephanie's like, don't bother, they don't have time. But they do actually stop to help DJ with her egg drop project, which she has procrastinated on for 3 weeks.
Yes, 20 days. A day or 2 or 20, says DJ. See, they have a legitimate thing, though, here. And that this gets their mind off of whatever they're doing for a couple of hours. Whereas if they sit there and watch Stephanie do it, they're just going to think about the jingle the whole time. And we can't be having that. That doesn't help create artistic achievement. That doesn't get your mind off of things. You're just going to be thinking about it the whole time. and they're going to be staring at her stone face, not paying attention, whereas the egg thing, it gets their mind off of it for a couple of hours. So Joey and Jesse are, like, the only good guys in this episode so far.
And so after they agree to help DJ, they all go up to the kitchen to get to work, and Stephanie's in the kitchen hula hooping, and DJ totally, like, knocks her hula hoop down right when she's about to reach her record again.
Bitch, move! She could have walked anywhere. There was plenty of space. She walked by and pretty much spikes it out of her hands.
Well, I mean, not necessarily. Stephanie was doing it, like, right in front of the stairs, but they still could have said, hey, Steph, could you take a step back, you know? Like,
But DJ I think DJ went out of her way. At the end of the day, DJ Tanner is an awful little brat who can't get over the fact that her mom's dead. She had 6 years to be an only child before Stephanie came around, 5 or 6 years. She's like, I hate everybody. DJ, I have a stupid braid. Bleh. And she knocked the hula hoop out.
well, Stephanie is understandably upset that the guys are helping DJ after they already told her they didn't have time to watch her. You know, I'm like, and while I understand, like you mentioned, that, you know, this would help them get their mind off it, it's hard to understand that when you're, like, 6, you know?
It is hard. Like Stephanie is not the bad guy in
No,
this.
not at all.
But Joey and Jesse also aren't the bad guy.
Oh, I know.
It's a weird, complex episode where there's, like, shades of gray.
My point was just that it's understandable why she would be upset about that.
Yeah, no, and yeah, I get that. I absolutely do. Just Joey and Jesse had a legit excuse, and Danny's off being a weirdo with a video camera.
DJ's like, well, they're helping me because I have important schoolwork to do. This is more important.
Yes.
And then Stephanie pulls out, you know, one of her famous lines, well, pin a rose on your nose.
Oh, we forgot to mention earlier, my favorite line of this entire thing thus far is DJ's like, oh, 6th grade's so hard. So Jesse suggests law school as an alternative to middle school. What?
Well, no, he tells her that she should consider law school because she was like, well, technically, I'm not, you know, in the last minute until 8:59 tomorrow morning.
No, I still took it as she was like that Jenny's like first day with a new tongue. I'm not editing this out. Not editing this out. That DJ is like, hey, I'm a procrastinator, and Jesse's like, fine, you should go to law school. That's what they do there.
And Joey's like, hey, let's put an egg on a Twinkie, but that does not work.
No, Joey just throws it down on the table as hard as he can, which leads me to my story, my egg story. I believe we both have egg stories.
Yes, we do both have one.
This one is directly related to my experience. I saw this episode in 2nd grade, and we had just moved into a house with a staircase. So, and nobody really ever watched me when I went to the kitchen. I always did weird stuff in the kitchen. Like one time, I took every drink we had in the fridge: 7-Up, Pepsi, water, fruit punch, some sort of ginger ale. It was 7 of them total, and I poured them all, a little bit of each one, into the same cup, and I mixed it up. And I had everyone in the house drink it because I thought, oh man, these are all good on their own. They're going to be great together. And I called it the 7 Dwarves drink.
You realize that's a suicide, right?
What?
When you mix everything together, it's called a suicide.
Oh, I called it the 7 Dwarves. But I had everyone drinking it. It was horrible. But and there was another time I just heard something about moonshiners making moonshine in toilets and bathtubs.
Oh my gosh.
So I grabbed some Pepsi and I put some of that and baking soda in the toilet.
I bet your toilet was clean.
It was, but I was like, hey, Dad, I'm making moonshine in the bathroom. And he drops everything. What are you doing? And then he notices, oh, I'm just being an idiot. He's like, fine, you can do that. But no,
Did you try to drink it?
No, because it just went all down. I honestly expected when I flushed to just mix it all together. But no, this story, 2nd grade, we have, I'd seen this episode. I'm like, I want to do this, but I think the Twinkie thing could work. Joey goofed it up.
Well, in your staircase at your mom and dad's house, there's no banister. It's really narrow and really steep.
That's what I was going to get to, is it's there's no turn to it. It's a straight, diagonal down, 16 steps. The walls are really close in, so it's essentially a hallway that goes down instead of really a staircase like they have on this show. So what I did was I put the egg in the Twinkie, and then I combined an idea from later. I tried to attach a Kleenex parachute to it, and I palmed it like a baseball, and I threw it down as hard as I could. And my dad was walking by. It missed him, but he saw it hit his jacket that was hanging up on the hook right behind him. And it smashed. Boy, did it smash. As in, it took my mom almost a year to get it out of the carpet on the stairs. So, that is my story. And by the way, in case you were listening last week, I've only ever been grounded once in my life.
And it was not for that.
Not for that. I had very liberal parents who worked a lot and were never, ever able to enforce groundings. So I just got away with this stuff. So do you want to tell your egg story now, or do you want to wait?
Yeah, well, my egg story was actually school sanctioned, unlike yours, which was just, creative exploration at home. In first grade, we did an egg drop, but, I wasn't quite sure what to do with mine, and my parents weren't a lot of help, and my egg ended up breaking. We put it in a chocolate milk carton, cushioned with tissues, inside an Easter egg that was also cushioned with tissues on the inside, and then tried to put on a parachute. And then our assistant principal went to the top of the gym, outside on the roof. It was pretty high, and he threw them all off, and then we checked to see whose were broken and whose were not. And mine was broken, and I was sad.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
At least it didn't smash your dad's jacket.
That's true. But, I didn't do things like that in my house. Although one time we did have a fight with Jell-O eggs in my brother Ian's bedroom.
Did he poop them all out?
No, but, one of them got stuck in the corner on the ceiling, and it started growing fuzz, and it was really gross.
Yeah, fuzz. And by the way, Jesse also mentions, hey, or it was Joey who was like, hey, why don't we just put it in a suitcase filled with cotton?
I thought Jesse said that.
Well, I thought Joey said it, and then Jesse looked it up in the rules, hey.
DJ looked it up in the rules and said that was specifically a rule that was not allowed.
Well, we watched this, by the way, at 1 a.m. last night, so there's a lot of fuzziness to some of these notes I took. But no, Rule 26, which means that a bunch of kids have done this before. I've just brought suitcases to school and done this. Rule 26 states you cannot put the egg in a suitcase full of cotton. So I think we have everything established. Let's move on to Michelle dancing to a Walkman.
Yes, Michelle has a Walkman on, and she's just kind of bopping along and going la la la. And then Stephanie comes in, and she's like, hey Dad, it's later. It's time to watch me hula hoop. And he's like, I have to get this shot of Michelle singing her cute song. Which,
he calls it the cutest little song.
Yeah, and she's just going la la la.
She's not singing a fucking song. This dude's a creep. So Stephanie busts out I write the songs that make the whole world sing.
Yeah, because they learned a Barry Manilow song at school today.
This is the best school ever. San Francisco's liberal enough as is, but they're teaching Manilow to the first graders. That's awesome.
But Danny's like, I have to film Michelle, not you. This is about Michelle. It's just Michelle. And Stephanie looks at Michelle and she's like, you think you're so cute.
Yeah, he says he has to get this footage. Will they fire him if he doesn't come back to work tomorrow with creepy home video footage of
Michelle specifically?
Yeah, and the way he's shooting it, he's shaking the camera all around. There's no way this footage is airable whatsoever.
And then Michelle's like, don't worry, be happy. And Stephanie's like, you are so cute, and storms off in a huff.
Here's a compliment for you, Michelle. Fuck off. Stephanie's upstairs. She's singing and doing this kid karaoke thing.
Yeah, she's performing for Mr. Bear, but her heart just isn't in it, and she has to stop.
Whose idea was it to give a kid a karaoke machine that attaches to your hip?
Okay, I had something kind of like this, and I think my grandma might actually still have it. I had two, actually, because the first one stopped working, but it was a little tape recorder thing. You could play a tape or record a tape, and it had a microphone on it so you could sing along. And it was it was for little kids. I had it in the early 90s, and it was kind of like Stephanie's, but not quite as fancy, I don't think.
It just makes who's gonna be the dick that's oh hey, here's a present for your kid, and it's a microphone that projects itself, and now she was going to want to sing all the time, and you're not going to be able to avoid it. Good job, dickhead. But no, Stephanie lays down and decides to take a nap. And that's
I think it's more like a daydream.
Well, either way, she's sitting there, like, kind of nodding off, and we go into a dream sequence, a rare dream sequence on this show, where all the dudes are downstairs huddling around Michelle. We're just waiting for her to do something. I'm thinking, while watching this probably was way too familiar to Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. Like, this was probably their life up until they were, like, 12, when they finally, like, were able to be like, hey, we have millions of dollars, shut up. To all the adults. Like, this is probably what child actors go through every day. A bunch of weird dudes sitting around their living room going, hey, do something, and we have cameras and we're gonna shoot it. Come on, do something, come on.
Well, Stephanie enters wearing a pretty bitchin' pink spacesuit.
Yeah, and by the way, gender shaming here. Why does it have to be pink?
Well, she probably was thinking about it being pink because she likes pink.
No, what isn't? The astronaut suits are never pink.
No, but maybe they are if you're a 6-year-old girl dreaming about being an astronaut.
I still think it's a little sexist, but nonetheless.
She comes in and she's like, hey guys, I'm back from Mars. I was the first kid in space. And they're all like, oh, that's great, whatever. We're waiting for Michelle to do something. And she's like, hey, isn't this a big deal? And they're like, oh, wait, she's doing it. And they all pull out their cameras and film Michelle blinking.
Creepy. These men are all creepy, even in Stephanie's dreams.
And because Michelle blinked so cutely, they give her Stephanie's bike, despite the fact that she's nowhere near big enough to actually ride the bike.
Like, that's my favorite part of this whole thing, is Stephanie just assumes that, oh, Michelle gets all my stuff because she's cuter. Like, they're not just going to stop paying attention to me. They're going to give away all my stuff, too.
There's a doorbell rings, and they make Stephanie answer the door. And a red carpet unrolls for DJ, who is returning from the mailbox. Yeah. And she gets, a scepter and a crown and a cape and stuff. And he's all like, what is going on? Like, and Stephanie at one point starts flying through the air.
Yeah. This was my favorite thing about this, is she starts, like, flying, because apparently you learn how to fly in space, and you can bring that skill back to Earth.
And nobody cares.
Well, but she gets, like there's the different levels of applause tracks they get, and, like, there's the woo, there's the woo when you kiss, and there's the ha 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 when something funny happens. They get the good job. It's very impressed. They were really impressed. Like, we were supposed to legitimately be impressed by Stephanie flying. Like, this is a real big deal. A breakthrough in science in a daydream.
But yeah, everybody's just kind of ignoring Stephanie, although Danny tells her while she's up there she might as well dust the top of the mantle or something.
Oh, and they take DJ to the kitchen.
Because she's having a party, and Patrick Swayze is waiting to have the first dance.
Even in dreams, these people are creepy. Hey, 12-year-old girl, let's go to the kitchen where we're going to have you dance with a 30-year-old man who's going to romance you.
I totally would have been okay with that.
With your 12-year-old daughter dating a 30-year-old?
If I was the daughter, I'd be like, oh, Patrick Swayze, he was really cute when he was young.
He looked like a cat man. Like, I'm gonna drink milk.
Whatever. My grandma loved Patrick Swayze.
And then I'm gonna straddle you from behind and do some pottery.
I carried a watermelon.
Good job. Congrats. So Stephanie wakes up from her dream, and Harry Takayama's just walking in to her room with a camera because he's Asian.
He wants to take a picture of her with her hula hoop for his scrapbook.
For his fucking scrapbook!
And she's like, Harry, you're the only one who cares about me. And he's like, no, that's not true. Your family cares.
Like, no, the scrapbook thing, we had to pause it when we were watching the DVD, because I couldn't stop, like, legitimately laughing at a 6-year-old boy walking into a girl's bedroom. Hey, I need your picture for my scrapbook. Like, they seriously believed, even as a joke, that anyone would be like, okay, yeah, 6-year-old boys do that, yes. But, and also, the fucking gall of them. Okay, we had the one Asian boy, he has to have a camera on him, and that's just his hobby. And that's a racist thing. It's super racist. Congrats to Jeff Franklin for being a super racist. Good job, buddy. Because they're all tourists, and they all have the cameras.
Well, I understand that, but, like, he's not being a tourist. He's just wanting to take pictures. Are you saying that Asian people can't appreciate photography?
Well, it's the stereotype. It's like if they had two gay people on there with like covered in rainbow stuff, and your defense was, oh, they can't appreciate rainbows.
I'm just saying, if they were like at Disneyland and Harry was like wearing a matching shirt with 50 other Asians and taking pictures of everything, then I would call it racist.
But see, I think this is more offensive because he's nowhere near anything touristy.
Wait, the fact that he appears with a camera one time in the series does not make it a racist thing.
But does anyone else have a scrapbook that they take pictures for?
You are really bad about spitting on my mouth when you're talking. It's like we're Frenching from a foot away.
Don't give me water before we start then. But no, I think it's worse because he's near nothing touristy. And nobody else has a camera. It's just
I think you're creating a problem where there isn't one. It's not Harry's thing. He mentions that he has a scrapbook. He has a camera one time.
But what other 6-year-olds have a camera? Like,
I wanted one. I didn't get one until I was 8, but I wanted one.
But Harry has one. Whatever.
The kids I nanny for have a camera.
Like that?
It's a digital camera. It's a kid digital camera. It takes actual pictures.
Whatever. There's still aspects of this that I think you're very much underrating, but it's Harry Takayama. Let's move on. Harry's like, hey, everyone cares about you and stuff, and he's like, no, I want to move out, but I'm stuck here till marriage.
Yeah, she says that they don't like her because she's the middle child, but she can't leave until she's married. So she suggests that they get married. And she's like, you know, and then we could go places. He's like, I can't even cross the street. She's like, but when you're married, you can cross the street. It's okay.
I was not allowed to cross the street until our wedding, actually. So they have a point. I legally wasn't.
And Stephanie's like, hey, you have to propose to me. And she makes him get down on one knee.
So he gets that on 2 knees, and there's not a laugh track, which tells you they probably went through this like 7 million times, and the actor who played Harry Takayama couldn't get the 1 knee thing down, so they're just like, whatever, 2 knees, who cares?
And he's like, I can see up your nose. And she's like, you're supposed to be romantic. So he goes, I can see up your nose, darling.
And then Stephanie's like, great, we'll do the wedding, I'll call my friends, and then we'll get a house. Like, I wish that's how it worked.
That'd be nice.
And then they go out calling each other Stephanie Takayama and Harry Tanner.
And they shake on it.
Which actually, those sound like better names than Stephanie Tanner and Harry Takayama, but I digress. We go back to the living room. The egg is being dropped from the stairs. The egg is in one of Michelle's little booties. With, it's tied...
It's suspended with rubber bands and a cage made of Tinker toys.
Like, I don't know. I'd be kind of mad if I were Danny and I found out that these other 2 dudes were just dropping my daughter's stuff off the staircase with an egg in it. Like, they better clean it. But nonetheless, there's a whole haha joke over Joey wanting to count from like 1,000 for the countdown. And then he drops it. The egg bounces off of...
It bounces out.
Danny catches it, and then it smashes in his hand. And Danny was like, why are you doing this? And all they would have to say is, oh, it's for DJ's school, and he should be cool with it. Yeah.
While this is happening, the doorbell rings, and DJ goes to answer it, and literally, like, every kid in Stephanie's class comes in through the door in a big line, and nobody questions it.
Including one wearing not, like, a priest shirt, like a black shirt with a priest collar. It's like, it's a bib. He's wearing a bib.
Well, we find out that his father is a minister and he gets dragged around to weddings a lot, so he knows what to do.
So they just gave him his own minister bib? Like, here, kid, you've been to 100 weddings. Here is your prize. You get a free minister bib, so everyone knows who to take you to when you get messy eating cake.
But, like, these 20 kids just, like, walk out to the backyard, and nobody's like, hey, why are you all here?
Well, the minister kid even goes, yeah, we're here for the wedding. And Jesse's like, okay, that way. Like, whatever. Whatever. Cool.
And DJ's just like, hey, let's get back to work. And Jesse's like, no, we have to go work on our jingle. And Joey's like, no, I have an idea for the egg.
Now, I will say about this kid, the minister kid, my dad was a minister.
Yes.
My dad was a minister actually up until the year I was born. Therefore, I would like to legally declare I can marry people. I have this power via being second generation.
Or via being ordained on the internet a few years ago.
I was that too, but no. It's mostly because my dad was a minister. And through the Tanner Takayama rule, I can marry people. So if anyone out there is getting married, and would like to pay me to fly in to do it, please email me, notthattomgrin@gmail.com, and I will marry you. So I wanted to bring that up.
Joey's big idea is to add a parachute, by the way.
Yeah, which is a good idea. It's like a shockingly good idea from the brain dead Gladstone. So they go to the backyard where it's amazingly well put together, actually.
Yes, they've got red and blue streamers,
Like,
cutouts of hearts.
this would have taken us a few hours as grown-ups. And they had what seemed like 45 minutes to put this together as two children sneaking around.
Most of the children who have come for the wedding are part of the bridal band, and they play the bridal march on kazoos pretty well, actually.
Yeah, like, this is all very impressive, actually.
Stephanie comes out in her little ivory party dress, which I think is the same one she wore on her date with Jesse, wasn't it?
Possibly.
She's got like a super cute ponytail going on. I was digging it. And she's got a train made of waxed paper, and the box of waxed paper is being carried by a girl in her class.
Yeah. Also, I'm thinking between the minister kid and the kazoo players, the fact that she could do the hula hoop 103 times is probably not super impressive. She seems to go to a school of talented mutants who can do all this impressive stuff. So it kind of makes sense that they're learning Manilow in first grade. So now the wedding happens, and the minister's like, "Hey, everybody, we're going to see these kids join in holy mattress money."
That was funny to me.
That was funny. It's always funny. It's like the standout line of the entire series.
Holy mattress money.
Like, that's the hallmark of Full House, is that little kid who we never see again, wearing the minister bib, saying, "We're gathered here today to see these two join in holy mattress money."
And then the preacher kid is like, "Harry, do you take Stephanie?" And he's like, "Once we're married, I can take her anywhere because I'll be able to cross the street." And she's like, "No, do you promise to pay me lots and lots of attention?" And he's like, "Okay," like, whatever.
And then, no, I lied. This is the hallmark of the entire series. The minister's like, "Okay, it's time for the wedding bows." And so they bow to each other. It was the best thing that's ever happened in my life. And when we renew our vows here in about 5-10 years, we need to do that. Absolutely have to do that.
Well, the rings, instead of rings, Harry has brought stick-on Scooby-Doo tattoos, which, Stephanie is very impressed with.
I would be. It's probably a lot of money, or he stole them. And then the dude's like, "Hey, you guys should kiss." And they're like, "Ew, why would I kiss that person?"
And he's like, "You're not actually married unless you kiss." And so Stephanie hides her eyes behind her bouquet, sticks out her hand, and Harry kisses the back of her hand. And then she's like, "Oh, you're a good kisser."
That's creepy. So...
Well, he's not a bad kisser.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to join Stephanie and Harry in holy mattress money. Harry, do you take Stephanie?
I'll take her anywhere. After we're married, we can cross the street.
No, what he means is, do you promise to pay lots of attention to me no matter what DJ does or how cute Michelle is?
Yeah, why not?
Now it's time for the wedding vows. Now say, "I do."
I do. I do too.
May I have the ring, please?
Wait,
Did you get a ring?
better. I got a stick-on tattoo of Scooby-Doo. Lick your hand.
It's beautiful. Stephanie and Harry, I now announce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride. Ew. If you don't kiss, you're not really married.
He's not a bad kisser.
When they go back inside the house, and DJ dropped the egg again using the parachute, but this time it worked.
Double Twinkies.
For some reason I typed here, this only one story, and I don't get why. They end up talking about Edison, I believe. And
Oh, I bet you meant because they were only dropping it from the second floor to the first
yes,
floor.
that's right. Because yes, it's only one. I thought I meant like, oh, it's They're only telling one story. But no, they're only dropping it from the second floor. So there's a good chance this thing would break from the third floor. Like if they dropped it from the roof. Which that would have been hilarious to see them try to rig up a set for the roof. But nonetheless.
And after, all this works out, the guys are like, oh, let's go work on our jingle. And all of a sudden, they come up with a jingle for Sweat World, and they, all sing it together at the same time. It freaks me out sometimes, how well their minds work together to come up with their jingles.
Yeah, all of a sudden, they have a 30-second jingle just out of their butts. It's completely out of their butts.
Well, and Danny is still filming Michelle, and it seems like there's been at least an hour that has passed during this show, if not more than that, and he's been filming her the entire time. It's really weird.
How is the battery not dead? How does he still have tape in the camera?
And now she's riding a little horse ride-on toy with wheels and stuff and scooting along. And Stephanie comes in and she's like, okay guys, I'm married, deuces.
And then everyone's like, whoa, wait a second. This kid's gonna move and we might get arrested for this. Because we can't have a kid on the street. So everyone's like, listen.
Oh, you're cute. Good for you.
Yeah, this is pretty much what happens after a husband hits a wife. Oh, here's 10 excuses as to why you should not call the cops on me.
But then Harry's like, hey, I have to go home. It's meatloaf night. And Stephanie's like, you can't leave me. But he does. And then she's like, now nobody wants me.
Yeah. And then Nanny's like, no, listen, we're sorry for blowing you off. Listen, if we're ever blowing you off again, tell us. Which is what she's been doing. Yeah. She's been like, hey, everyone, you're blowing me off. And they've been ignoring her. So the thing to fix it is for her to just do it some more.
They're like, hey, lots of good things happen in the middle. And instead of talking about the perks of being a middle child, which there aren't a lot of, by the way. They do mention she's the only one with a big sister and a little sister. But they start talking about food. What's the best part of the bologna sandwich? The bologna. What's the best part of the Oreo? The cream, which is answered by Joey.
Hey, Stephanie, you are both cream and full of bologna. Suck it.
And then DJ's like, so this makes me the soggy part of the sandwich and the throwaway part of the cookie. I'm not okay with this. And Stephanie's like, I am.
I wouldn't be okay with being the soggy part. So in a way, they're shaming DJ to make Stephanie happy. These are horrible parents.
You kind of are the soggy part, though, because you're the youngest.
I'm not the soggy part of anything, though I have a physique that resembles that of a soggy mattress.
See, I have a weird kind of position in my family.
Missionary.
Shut up. That's... Ugh. No, I was the first child for both of my parents. But when I was a baby, my dad remarried, and I had an older stepsister who was 10 years older. So I wasn't technically the oldest anymore, although I still was with my mom. And on my mom's side, it's just me and my brother. But then my dad and my stepmom had 2 kids together. So I've got a younger brother and sister, and then the older sister. And so I was kind of the oldest and a middle child. And then my sister moved out, after she graduated, and I was 8. So then I was kind of, the oldest again, because she wasn't around a whole lot. And then she moved to Texas, and she really wasn't around a whole lot. But it was still kind of weird. I had, all her hand-me-downs. I had her hand-me-down bras at one point.
That's cool.
It was not. My boobs were too big for them already at that point. I don't know. It's weird to be in that position, I guess, because I understand what it's like to be the oldest, but I also understand what it's like to be the middle child. And both of them kind of suck.
Well, I mean, I'm technically the youngest, but everyone was moved out by the time I was old enough to realize what was going on. So I was pretty much an only child who had a bunch of, aunts and uncles that I had to call brother and sister. And that was strange, and I had really old parents. So I don't know what I was. I was like an orphan baby.
Well, you weren't the middle or the oldest.
I was the orphan baby. I was the orphan baby who nobody wanted.
Well, they basically just end up telling Stephanie that it's not all about her, and then make her hug everyone.
Everyone. This was ridiculous. Clearly, they wrote the script and it was a minute short. They take, I believe it was at least 40 seconds, not exaggerating. If I want to exaggerate, I'm going to say 5 minutes. Where she had to go around and hug every single member of the cast, one by one.
Yeah, it was overkill.
It was ridiculous and long and irritating and Just wanted to throw it out of the window.
And finally, after hours of filming Michelle and insisting that he can only film Michelle because this video is all about Michelle, he's like, you know what? All 3 of my daughters should be in this video. And instead of saying like anything to DJ at all, like he's like, hey Stephanie, do you want to do your hula hoop or do you want to sing I Write the Songs? And she's like, I can do both. And so she does, and then everyone starts singing along with her, so I guess everyone gets to be in the video.
And DJ gets the shaft as usual. So in the end, we learn that if you're being mistreated as the middle child, it's okay. Just tell somebody 1,000,000 times, try to get married, and your older sister will eventually get abused.
Oh, and Michelle covers her ears because she's not impressed with the singing.
Yeah, you're the only one in the family who has a big sister and a little sister.
That's true. What else you got?
Well, another good thing about being the middle child is a lot of the mistakes we made raising DJ, we won't have to make on you.
I'm getting depressed. So far, I'm the soggy part of the sandwich and the throwaway part of the cookie. I like that.
Stephanie, come here. You have to realize that sometimes your sisters are going to need our attention. But if you ever feel like you're not getting your fair share, I want you to come and tell us about it.
Really? I can do that?
You better. Every time I get a little busy with something, I don't want you to run off and get married.
Me neither. I don't know about this husband thing. One whiff of their mom's meatloaf and they're gone.
Come here, you beautiful bride.
Me next.
Okay, lay one on your Uncle Jay. You know how it's done. All right.
Oh, well, come on. Heck.
You know, I think this home video would be so much better if it had all 3 of my girls. Let me see. You want to sing I Write the Songs or go for the hula hoop record?
Daddy, I can do both. I write the songs that make the whole world sing. I write the songs of love and special things.
Everybody?
I write the songs that make the young girls cry. I am music, and I write the songs.
That's it. I do want to bring up, since I mentioned it earlier, I totally believe that this episode, like in a way, is the reason for the Teen Mom movement. Because this was airing in syndication while all those little brats were like little kids. And they found out that, oh, if I get married, then if I just am loud enough about it, people will pay attention to me. So I legitimately kind of do believe in a weird way that this episode of Full House is to blame for a lot of really bad things to happen in the world, in stupid middle-class America over the past 10, 15 years. So, good job, Full House. You broke America. That being said, who was literally the worst this week?
Danny.
Yep, Danny. Danny was an ass. He ignored one daughter. He made another one feel bad when he was trying to make the middle one feel good. And he was trying to exploit his daughter for ratings on a regional television show. So congratulations, Danny Tanner. You are literally the worst this week. That being said, I think we're going to head out. We've covered everything there is to cover. There was a lot to cover. This was easily the most paused episode we've had while taking notes. It took us almost an hour to watch this because there was so much involved in it. Again, as always, please subscribe on iTunes, tinyurl.com/fullhousepodcast. Subscribe, rate us 5 stars, write a short review, and in a future episode, I will cuss you out on the show. As always, we've outsourced our outro to you, our fans, because apparently we have fans, and that's a cool thing. I asked everyone on Twitter, hey, come up with your worst insult about me, Tom. And you all came in quite strong.
I think I could probably come up with some better ones.
You probably could, but we're not going to talk about that here. So what I'm going to do, there is one particular Twitter account that I want to give attention to, at No Totally. It's a podcast that is going strong, that that they've supported us quite a bit the past few weeks on Twitter and retweeting and, iTunes reviews and all that fun stuff. They insulted me quite badly. So
Several times.
Yes. So I'm going to pick one now because I am great and I will do that. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to go with the most realistic one here because they gave quite a few pretty insulting ones, and I'm going to go with the one that's probably closest to life. Thanks to @NoTotally on Twitter. Everywhere you look, Tom's calling his mom, telling her that he's discovered a new pun.
You're lost out there, you're all alone. A light is waiting to carry